Alright guys, it's time for another nap time makeover. This time I am going to be lime washing our fireplace. I got this stuff from, I believe it's called Roma Bio. Got it at Home Depot online. I'm really excited to try it. We are actually maybe going to be using this on our exterior next year, so I'm kind of testing it out on our fireplace. Lime wash I really like because it's like supposed to be good for the brick. It's not something that's like a paint that's going to cover it and not let it breathe, and it's a natural product, so I'm really excited to try it. I also bought the brush, which is basically as much as the paint, but everyone on the reviews said that the brush is like what makes the application a lot easier and helps it to look really good at the end. So the instructions on this say to put like 1 part water to 1 part paint. It has to be diluted. They said if you want a little bit thicker to do like 1 part paint to 3/4 of part water, so I think I'm gonna try that. We are not going to be protecting our rugs because we're getting new hardwood flooring done in a few weeks, which is why I am doing this in the first place right now, because I want to do the messy part before our floors get installed. But I'm going to be putting this into this big bucket here and mixing it with a paint stick. Let's see how it goes. All right, so I'm just finishing mixing this up. I might add a little bit more water if I feel like it's too thick, but I think I'm going to get started. It's pretty like pasty, it's like paste consistency, and it's definitely thinning out as I'm stirring it. I'm really interested to see how this whole thing works. All right, I started. The finish is a little bit funky and I don't know if I love it yet, but I think what it's supposed to do is like look semi-transparent in the beginning, and then it'll get like more full coverage as it dries. I think, I'm hoping, because I don't love it now. I'll show you. So the directions say to start from the bottom and go up, and it definitely does like drip down. It's kind of hard to get in these cracks with this brush, but I'm just kind of going over it again and again to do it. And can you see what I'm talking about? How the finish is like, I don't know, not very even and kind of splotchy and watered down looking. I'm thinking that that's going to get better, but let's see. So even though I'm using this really thick masonry brush, I'm having a very hard time getting in some of these really deep grout lines. I don't know if you can tell how deep that is. So I'm gonna have to use like a regular paintbrush to get in those lines. All right, so this is very messy. Even with trying to be really careful, it's like splashing everywhere when I'm trying to get in like the grout lines, but it is wiping up with like a wet rag easily. So I'm not stressing too much about it. It's just kind of an annoying step I have to take. See, it just comes right off, even off of this like kind of more porous metal surface. So that's good at least. All right, guys, here's where we're at. I've done kind of like 1.5 coats. I think I need to wait a little bit longer for it to really dry before I do a full second coat on it, because I think the water that is in this batch is like wiping away some of the lime wash. I'm gonna be honest, I like it from afar, like I like it from farther back, but this texture on the brick is driving me crazy, and I don't like how the texture looks with this. See that? It looks like it's more saturated in the cracks of the brick, like that brick right there. I really don't like how that looks up close. I mean, it's fine, whatever, it's livable, but see how this brick is different? This one right here, oh, I need to paint back in there, but see how these are like, don't have that texturing on them like this? That looks awesome. That looks great. That's what I want it to look like, but I don't like that alligatoring in there. Not much I can do about it, but I'm just being honest. So I've let this sit for about 2 days. I did another coat on it, and I definitely like it a lot better. I feel like you can see the alligatoring a lot less in the brick, and it just looks a lot more solid white. I think you can tell it too. Oh, and don't worry about the mantle. I'm doing something else with that. But now my question is, do I go one step farther and do a little bit more of a distressed look? Let me tell you, I'm trying to kind of get away. So like I did a little test spot over there. I'm trying to get away from the distressed look a little bit. I don't love things that look overly distressed and like fake rustic. So I'm kind of trying to stay away from that. But I feel like this is reading a little bit 80s brick to me, like 80s white brick. And I don't want that either. So I'm going to test out a few areas of like mildly distressing it and see what I think. The really cool thing about lime wash is you can take it off for 5 days still, and then it calcifies after 5 days. So if I didn't like this whole thing, then I could just like take it off. But I do like it. I like it much better than it was before. I'm just trying to figure out if I'm gonna like it with a little bit of distressing better. And I just went into it with the thought of I can always add more. I can't take away more. So that really helped me to just go a little bit more heavy-handed with the taking away of the lime wash. And now you are gonna have to check out what it looks like today by looking at this next video. So spoiler alert, I actually start liking my fireplace again in the next video. So I hope that you can watch that one to see how we really transformed it. And please consider subscribing if you like my content. That really helps support me and helps me put free information out here for you guys every week.